My guest today is actor Mark Feuerstein, and he has had roles in What Women Want with Mel Gibson, Rules of Engagement with Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel L. Jackson, as well as numerous television appearances. But we are here today to talk about his newest role as Rabbi Mo in the suspense thriller Guns and Moses, and he's carrying a Glock, lighting up more villains than the number of candles on a menorah. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome actor Mark Feuerstein to the show. Welcome,
Oh,
Mark.
thank you, Ward. I love that tagline. More people than candles on a menorah. That was amazing. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. We may have to tell Salvador to add that as the new tagline.
I think we will, and we'll give you credit.
Hey, I love that. Well, let me ask, what attracted you to the role of Rabbi Mo Zaltzman in Guns and Moses?
Well, Ward, I grew up in New York City, a proud Jew, and I got an indie script. And when you get an indie script, you don't know how it's going to be. It could be a disaster. The part could be horrendous. I read this script. He's funny. He's full of heart. He is, it's a dramatic role. It's also like a Jewish action hero. He gets to, learn how to fire a gun and protect his community. The message is captured in one line when my character, Rabbi Mo, quotes Rabbi Hillel, who says, "In a place where there is no man, be the man." And Rabbi Mo is that man who is willing to stand for his best values, his best self. He's not willing to believe it's the obvious suspect. He's got faith in humanity, and he's willing to ask the hard questions. I fell in love with the script because it's such a multi-layered character and story, and I was so excited to get to play Rabbi Mo.
Well, you bring out Rabbi Mo's compassion, his search for truth, and you show his vulnerability and also his strength to step out of his comfort zone and be courageous. How did you prepare Rabbi Mo's mindset when you stepped in front of the camera?
Rabbi Mo is a Chabad rabbi, which means he's, to use a Hebrew word, a shliach, which means he's gone to some corner of the world, and in this case, it's the high desert of California, to build a community. And that's not an easy thing to do. And he has to protect his community, and he goes about learning how to fire a gun. This was actually based, Sal Litvak, the writer, and his wife Nina Litvak, they based this character on a rabbi who stood up for his community in the synagogue in Poway, California, where there was a shooter who came to kill the entire congregation. And this rabbi lunged, he didn't just wait and take it willingly. He stood up and lunged at that shooter, losing a finger, and protected all the congregants who were there praying. And Sal and Nina wrote this movie to honor that and tell a story about standing up to anti-Semitism, standing up to injustice everywhere, which is part of the tradition of the Jewish people, the Christian people, all people. And this movie is honoring that tradition.
It is, and that's what I loved about this film. This film is for everyone, and I know that Salvador, he was not a gun person, but he learned how to fire a gun. He went through gun training to learn to use it as for protection. For you, though, what was it like doing the gun training scenes in the film, both personally and as Rabbi Mo?
It was very cool. I would say, to be funny, that there is a stereotype of the Israeli Jew who can build anything and fire anything and protect themselves. They're tough. A stereotype of an American Jew is not exactly the same. We can't even fix a dishwasher or put in a light bulb because we have to call someone to help us. That's a stereotype. Not true, but it's how growing up in New York City, we would joke. So when I learned that Sal, because not every synagogue in America can afford a security guard to watch their sanctuary, Sal joined a group called Maganam, and I was trained by the founder of Maganam, this local security force that protects many synagogues in California. And he taught me directly how to fire a Glock. And it was very cool to learn how to do it properly, to learn, when your finger is on the safety and when you take it off, and how to wait for that moment when when you're supposed to press the trigger. There's like a trigger within the trigger, and you gotta feel that out. And we did a montage where I become the badass rabbi, and I'm flicking my long black coat back in slow motion and firing the gun. And we did a few takes, but finally I got it. And Sal said I looked like a real gunslinger, even though, the rabbi says to his wife when she says, "Are you afraid you won't be able to shoot the gun?" And I say, "No, I'm afraid that I will," because he doesn't want to have to, because he's not a violent man. This movie is not about, saying violence is desirable or okay. It's just saying that in a town where there is no man, be the man. That sometimes people have to step up and be ready, because if no one else is going to have your back, you got to have your own.
Yeah, this film isn't just about a Jewish rabbi getting the courage to fight back. This is for everybody to dig deep and find that courage within themselves, regardless who they are. But there is a scene, a very powerful scene in this film with Christopher Lloyd, and then the young man, actor Jackson Dunn, when he actually drives up with the loud music playing in front of the storefront synagogue, so to speak. That was one of the deeper scenes in this film, because it was an educational moment for the character Clay, but really for the audience, wouldn't you say?
Ward, first of all, thank you for watching the movie the way you have. I mean, it's rare to talk to a reporter and a journalist who has done the homework, so thank you. Second of all, it was an amazing thrill to get to work with Christopher Lloyd, who we all loved from Back to the Future and Taxi and so many other great projects. But that scene that you singled out is one of the most important in the entire movie, because first of all, my character doesn't just accept the hatred of the neo-Nazi in front of his synagogue. He welcomes him. He says, "Okay, if you're so tough, then come over here and let's talk. Get out of your car. Don't hate from inside your echo chamber. Get out of your car and come over here. And I'd like you to meet someone." And then he meets a survivor from the Holocaust, played by Christopher Lloyd, who tells him the story of how his family was exterminated. And it's only when the rabbi sees that this kid is able to understand that, though his colleagues in his anti-Semitic group would have you believe the Holocaust didn't happen, he's hearing it from the source. And because of that, my character is not willing to accept that he is the only suspect for this crime. And that lesson of looking harder, getting curious, asking questions is A, part of the Jewish tradition, B, part of what we all need to do now in a world where the lowest common denominator opinion is available at all times on TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook. And we need to ask harder questions and do the research and not just accept misinformation.
That scene, I want, ladies and gentlemen, when you go to the theater, and you need to go to the theater July 18th to see Guns N' Moses, when you see this scene, and Mark, I want everyone to realize that when we watch the news and we see all of these protests around the country, around the world, where people are favoring, let's just say, favoring the other side or favoring the enemy, they don't understand who they're actually praising, that if they understood the truth, their mindset would be changed. This scene is where we as people need to spend more energy listening and learning than spouting off our mouth.
Ward, it's such a beautiful thing you just said. I couldn't agree more. And I have a story to share about that, if it's okay.
Sure.
In the wake of October 7th, the IDF released a movie called Bearing Witness, which had footage from the Hamas terrorists' body cams. It was a very upsetting movie, a lot of death. The disrespect of the human body, let alone life itself, was so prevalent. And in it, I watched two brothers watch their father get blown up by a grenade, and then they're in a living room talking. One has blood dripping from his eye. The other says, "Dad is dead. I wish I was dead too." And it was so, I was sobbing when I watched this scene because I have a brother and I have a father. And it's why, a story about brothers and a father is how I got into acting, because it was the first play I did called Orphans. And so it was so upsetting to see that. And then I go to this charity event in LA, and a woman is talking with two boys next to her. And she starts telling the story of how her husband was blown up by a grenade. And I realized, oh my God, this is the mother of the two boys I saw in that movie. And she tells the story of how one of those boys got on Google Translate, and the terrorist was just drinking from their 2-liter bottle of Coke in their living room like nothing, like he hadn't just killed their father. And after the part I saw in that movie, he gets on Google Translate and says to the terrorist, "Please don't kill my mother, kill me instead." And I think because that terrorist saw this young Jewish boy as a human being, was confronted by the humanity of a Jew, instead of reading about them in horrible paraphernalia given by, schools in Gaza, he realized, I can't kill these two boys. I can't kill their mother. And that's what we need more of, is breaking bread together, extending beyond your sphere of influence, and making this world a kinder, better place.
Amen to that, Mark, and I completely agree. And I want to bring up there's a little bit of humor that I found in this film, and I loved it, which is why I told Salvador and Dermot I want to see a sequel to this film. But actress Alona Tao plays your wife Hindi in the film, and I'm not going to give it away, but she became your Robin to your Batman, didn't she?
She did.
She was a bit of a scene stealer there towards the end.
Yup, she's such a badass. I love her as an actress, as a person, and as a character. My wife Hindi is my accomplice, and we're in it together. And Alona Tal, as an Israeli, was actually in the Israeli army, so she's not messing around. When I was the neophyte, she shows up to the gun range. She knows exactly what she's doing. But though there's a hint, an element of every action movie which glorifies violence, this nips that in the bud by addressing the issue of violence. When my wife says to me, "Are you afraid that you won't be able to use your gun?" And I say, "No, I'm afraid that I will, because I don't want to have to use it." It's not about actually killing the enemy. It's just about protecting yourself and praying you never have to use it.
I think law enforcement and even our military have the exact same thought. And this movie is so timely. Yes, it's entertaining. Yes, it's about businessmen that are, double crossing each other. There's land deals, and you have no idea where this film is going to go with all of the characters. So it keeps everybody interested. From your point of view, what would you like the audience to take from Rabbi Mo?
Rabbi Mo is a loving father. He's a loving rabbi. He has built a community. We live in a time where there is an epidemic of loneliness, and this is a community builder. So I think not only should he inspire people to embrace the communities that they're a part of, whatever they may be, whether they're communities of faith or just something you love to do or think or talk about, but to be together as people and to look beyond your narrow frame to see that everyone is entitled, to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they don't have to be of your same religion or faith. And that one lesson that Rabbi Mo says when he quotes Rabbi Hillel, "In a place where there is no man, be the man or woman who acts from their best and highest self, not just easily taking the lowest common denominator to blame, but but really getting curious and trying to find the truth, which in this movie is manifested in the form of who the real killer is. And I think it's a great ride to get to who that is.
It is. And ladies and gentlemen, Guns and Moses is a suspense thriller with many twists and turns, and there is plenty of firepower, but there is a much deeper meaning than Rabbi Mo with a Glock in his hand. This is a very human story of epic proportions that everyone needs to see. Now, Guns and Moses is a thrilling ride inspired by real events and a powerful reminder that courage, faith, and unity can light the way forward. And Guns and Moses debuts in theaters nationwide, so be in your seat. July 18th, so buy your tickets now. Grab your popcorn, your candy, and your soda, because, hey, the way I told Salvador, hey, he is making movies great again. So may I leave you with a line from Guns and Moses? May your God and your Glock protect you. And Mark, I want to thank you for your time today.
Thank you so much, Ward. You're fantastic. Thank you.
I appreciate it. And thank you, everyone, for watching. And we'll be right back with more.
This attack, it's personal to me. This crime against a Jewish community will not go unpunished.
Down. His name is Clay Gibbons.
That is a sick joke.
And he drives a Mack Green GTI with Nazi insignia.
Get your hands off my son! Your son's a member of a white nationalist hate group.
Dad! It was a rap room!
I lost everyone, but I survived.
The question is, are you gonna be a sheep or a shepherd?
Told him what I found, then he was killed.
What did you find?
Why you want to play detective?
Because no one else is. Isn't the killer in custody? The suspect is in custody.
You don't control me, Alan. You controlled you. You blew it.
Are you gonna find who did it and get me out of here?
Yes, I am.
When your enemy tells you that he wants you dead, believe him.
There are no words, but there will be deeds.